All right, welcome everybody. This is Improving Your Credit Score, a guide to home ownership success. My name is Jason Lawrence, and I am with United Real Estate in Indianapolis. So, I am a realtor in the central Indiana area, and so let me tell you, this presentation will probably be helpful to you even if you don't live in the central Indiana area. So I am here to help you improve your credit score no matter where you're at. I'm going to help you no matter where you're at in the United States. So this information will be helpful. If you do enjoy the program and you do want to try to buy a home, I am here and I'm available to help. You're welcome to call me, and I can link you with a very reputable, good realtor in your area that can help you find a home in your area. So please feel free to reach out, even if you are outside of the central Indiana area, and I am more than happy to help. So let's go on to our next slide. All right. In this presentation, we're going to cover the importance of having a good credit score when buying a home. So, what is a credit score? Why do we have credit scores? So, the credit score basically it represents your credit risk or the likelihood that you're going to pay your bills on time. The higher your score, the more likely you are to pay your bills. So, many people don't know that the range for a credit score ranges from 300 on the low side all the way to 850 on the high side. So, if you're a low score, how do you improve your score? Okay, well, the factors that affect your credit score are your payment history, so making your payments on time, very important. The credit utilization, so how much credit are you using? So if your credit limit is 1,000 and you're using all 1,000 of that, then you're using all of your available credit. They like for you to see that you can balance your credit and not be using the maximum all the time. So another important factor is your length of credit history. Types of credit that you have. So car loans, mortgages, credit cards, HELOCs. That's a home equity line of credit. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up. So new credit inquiries. So that's when you apply for a new credit card, or you apply for a home loan, or you apply for a car loan. Those are called hard pulls. So there's hard pulls and there's soft pulls. So we'll talk about that later. Hard pulls affect your credit score. Soft pulls do not affect your credit score. So just remember that. Hard pulls, bad. Soft pulls, good. So, and then available credit. So how much you've used versus how much you have available. So, all right. So why does your credit score matter anyways? Okay. So your credit score matters because it has a large impact on your mortgage approval. So it also has a large impact on the interest rates that you pay. So sometimes you can get approved with a lower score, but then you're not going to get as good of a rate. So it can also affect how much interest you pay on like a car loan or something like that. So um, if you have a better score, you can get a better car loan. So if you have a poor score, you can likely still get a car loan, but they're going to give you a high interest rate, and then they're also going to give you shorter terms. They're going to make you pay that back faster. So maybe you're trying to buy, a $20,000 car, you have a low credit score, they're only going to let you finance it for, say, 4 years, and then your interest rate is going to be, let's say, 12% or something. So if you have a better score, you can buy a $30,000 car. They'll let you finance it for 6 years and say they give it to you at a 5% interest rate. So there's a big difference there. You're paying much less interest, and then your payment is probably going to be about the same, and it allows you to buy a better car. So it's the same way with your home. The better your score is, the lower your payment's going to be, the more house you can afford to buy then. So if you have a poor score, you're going to have to buy less house if you're buying on payment, which most people are. They don't want to be outside of a payment range that they're uncomfortable with. So let's say good score, longer payments, buying a new car. When you have a poor credit score, you get shorter terms, right? We already kind of covered this. So I'm just looking at some notes that I have. Let's go on to the next slide. All right. Assessing your credit score. Okay. How do you find out what your credit score is? We need to learn steps to finding out that score. So how do we find out your score? well, guess what? There are free services that are available. So, and once you find those services and you get signed up for them, I need for you to monitor them regularly. Things that are monitored tend to change. So, and then most importantly, what does everything on your credit report mean? So once you get that report and you're able to see it and you're able to view it and you're monitoring it, you need to understand what everything means. Let's dig into that. All right. First step is going to be finding free credit monitoring sites. So Credit Karma and Experian are the two sites that I like to use. There's other options available out there. If you don't want to use these, that's fine. However, these are both free and they get you accurate data on your different credit bureaus. So why do you have to go to two different sites? Because all three credit bureaus are not available on one site without having to pay. Now you can pay for it. I know Experian, I don't know how much it is. I think it's $20 a month, but don't quote me on that. So I think you can pull all three credit bureaus and you only have to log into one site. What I'm trying to share with you is a way for you to get all of the information and be able to start working on your credit without having to spend money. So I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but there is three different credit bureaus. I think some people think that there's only one credit bureau and you only have one score. You actually have three different scores, okay? The three different credit bureaus are called TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And if you're getting a home loan, they're going to look at all three. So sometimes if you get a car loan or if you get a credit card, they might only pull one of the bureaus. You have no way of knowing which one they're going to pull, so let's concentrate on all three of them and making sure that your score is good with all three of them. So Experian has their own site. I recommend that you monitor all three. So TransUnion and Equifax are on Credit Karma. Experian has their own site. So you sign up for each one, you get a free account with each one, and that's how you monitor all three, okay? All of these sites are 100% free, and Experian offers something that they call Experian Boost. Experian Boost will allow you to get credit for your utility bills, your cable bill, internet bill, streaming services, car insurance, rent payments. So it allows you to get, credit for things like that that don't normally get reported to the credit bureaus. The only thing that's getting reported to the credit bureaus are your credit card payments, your car payments, and your mortgage payments. So some people think that they get credit for paying their utility bill, their electric bill on time every month. They don't get credit for that. But with Experian Boost, apparently you can get credit for that. I don't personally use Experian Boost, but I researched this a little bit when I was making this presentation. And Experian claims that if you use Experian Boost, that you can see a 13-point increase in your credit score. So if you're close on something, so here's an example. I have a guy right now that I'm working with. He's got a 633 credit score. He wants to get some down payment assistance. The minimum credit score for down payment assistance is 644. I'm sorry, 640. So he's got a 633, he needs a 640. So he only has to go up 7 points. Well, if he does Experian Boost, maybe he can go up 13 points and maybe that puts him over the edge, and then now we can get him down payment assistance. In his particular case, on this particular program, he can get $7,500 in down payment assistance. That makes a big difference. He had to come up with $12,000 to purchase a home, and now he has about $1,000 saved up or so. He gets his $7,500, that's $8,500. So now he's only got to come up with $3,500 or so. So he has to come up with a significantly lower amount of money. That makes a huge difference for him. So it makes home ownership much more attainable. The great news is Experian Boost is 100% free. All right, how do we improve our score? Most important factor is paying your bills on time, every time. I can't stress this enough. You need to make sure that every time you're getting your bills paid. If you have to, pay the minimum payment. Whatever way that you need to keep track of this, but we need to make sure that you're paying your bills on time every time. Second, make sure that you reduce your balance that you're carrying over from month to month on your credit cards. So if you're, like I was saying before, if you have a $1,000 limit on your credit card and you're carrying $1,000 on that, that is negatively affecting your credit score. We need to start paying that down. So, especially if you want to buy a house. So, depending upon the number of inquiries that you have, you're probably going to want to avoid opening new accounts. we'll have a little more on this later. It's going to be coming up. All right, old accounts. Keep your old accounts open. This is very, very, very important. If you close the account, you lose that credit history. So I had a client recently. She said, okay, I want to buy a house. So she didn't talk to me yet. She just started doing this stuff on her own. So she's like, I'm going to buy a house. And she's like, I paid down all my credit cards. I'm like, that is fantastic. She's like, and then I closed all of them. And I'm like, oh no. She's like, why? What? I was like, you just ruined your credit score. And she was like, no. She's like, I think it'll be fine. I was like, no. I was like, you just took away all of your credit history. Now all of those accounts, she had 3 different accounts. Now all those accounts no longer show up on your credit history. So now you don't have those on there. So, and I said, how old was your oldest account? She said, it was 6 years old. I go, yeah, that's a problem. Now you don't have credit history on that anymore. She's like, well, can I open it back up? I was like, yeah, you can open it back up, but it's going to start over at 0 again. So then I asked her to check her score. You know, it takes about 30 days for things to post on there. I asked her to check her score in about 30 days, and sure enough, her score dropped by 100 points by her just closing her accounts. So this is very important. You do want to have a low balance on them, but when you close them, when you pay them off, don't close them. Okay? So my recommendation is get a security deposit box at like the bank or something like that. So you can take those cards if you're tempted to spend money, which a lot of people are. So you can take that card and take it to your safety deposit box at the bank and put it in there. That way, when you're surfing the internet, it's late at night, you can't sleep, you're on, surfing Facebook or Amazon or something like that, and you see something cool that you want to buy, well, now you can't buy it because you don't have your card. So I also recommend don't store your cards on Amazon. Don't store your cards on your cell phone because, again, that gives you extremely easy access to those. And if you don't have the willpower to not spend money, it's best to not have it easily available. So I also recommend if you're a little better at discipline or so, maybe keep it in a a safe at home, or even in a drawer in your desk or something like that. But don't keep it with you all the time in your wallet so you have easy access to spending it. So next step, diversifying your credit mix. What does diversifying your credit mix mean? Diversification means that you're going to have a car loan, you're going to have a couple different credit cards, and then hopefully very soon you will have a mortgage. So once you get all 3 of those, that was one thing when I was trying to improve my credit score. Once I got my first home loan, the amount my credit score went up was huge. And at the time I didn't fully understand it. Well, it's because I was diversifying my credit mix. I added a different type of loan and I was making good payments on that. So in addition to making good payments on my car payment, making good payments on my credit cards, now I'm making good payments on a home loan. So it's the diversification side of that. It really super boosted my score, and it really made a big difference. All right, grow your available credit over time. So this is something that you're going to want to do slowly. The more available credit that you have, the higher your score is going to be. So let's go back to this scenario I was talking about before. You have a $1,000 credit card, you have $1,000 on it. If you suddenly have a $2,000 limit on that, well, now your credit utilization is only at 50%. So, or if you had, say, 3 different cards that also had $1,000 limits on them, now if you have $1,000 on one card and you have the other 2 cards available, you're going to want to spread that balance across all 3 cards ideally, but now you're only using 33% of your available credit. So more on that later, but you definitely don't ever want to use more than 30%. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, paying your bills on time. One of the most crucial steps to improving your score is ensuring that your bills are paid on time every time. I strongly recommend that you use automatic payments. That's what I do. I have everything that I have set up on an automatic payment. Now, does that mean it pays the full amount of the bill? No. That means that it pays the minimum due. So it automatically pays $25, $45, $55, whatever the minimum due on your card is. It will automatically pay that every month, so that way I can't forget. We're humans, we're busy, we're doing things, we tend to forget things. So I always recommend set up on an automatic payment, make sure that you're getting that minimum payment in there, so that way you have credit for that and you don't have missed payments. Once you have a missed payment, that's it. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do to remove it. It's on there, and it's going to stay on there and affect your score for a minimum of 5 years. So it's very important that you make all of your payments on time every time. So if you have missed payments on your credit report now, let's just try to get you set up on an automatic payment, and let's just try to make sure that you're paying on time moving forward. As it goes by, every year that goes by, it affects your score less and less and less, but it will continue to affect your score for 5 years. So, all right, let's see. Just reading some of my notes here, making sure I'm not missing anything for you guys. So obviously, you know, one thing that I wanted to talk about is it's obviously better if you can pay the full amount every month. So if you're spending $300, you know, and you pay that off every month, that is the best way to go. So if you don't have any kind of a credit card at all, I always recommend that people open up one card, just get one card, and then put your groceries on there, put your gas on there, put things on there that you're already spending money on anyways. And then that gets you credit for spending that money. Because if you're paying it out of your bank account, you're not getting credit. It's not building up your credit score. So you want to make sure that you're building your credit score. So, you know, put your $200 a week worth of groceries or whatever it is on there. Put your gas on there. Things that you're already spending money on every month. Put it on there, and then make sure you make the payment on there. Don't put it on there and carry it month to month and pay interest on there. That's not doing you any good. But if you pay it off every month, you pay no interest on it, and you get credit for that. So I always talk about how credit is like a muscle. So, you know, I'll try to show you in the camera a little bit here. So, you know, when you're lifting weights, your muscle grows, okay? So that's what your credit score is. So you use it, you pay it off. You use it, you pay it off. And as you do that, your credit score grows. It's just like going to the gym. So you want to make sure that you are exercising your credit score. Use it, pay it off. Use it, pay it off. All right, let's see what else. Okay, I think that's everything for this slide. Let's go on to slide 9. All right, this is what I was talking about earlier, reducing your credit card balances. Aim for a maximum of 30% usage on each card, okay? So going back to our $1,000 example, you should not be using more than $300, meaning you should not be carrying a balance of more than $300 on that card from month to month. So try to keep it below your minimum. So let's review my notes again. You can also consider, okay. So another thing that you can do is consider consolidating your high interest debts. So one thing that a lot of credit card companies do is they offer a promotion. So you can get a promotional rate on a new card. So you pick out that new card. Again, don't do this if you have a lot of inquiries. You can only do this if you don't have any inquiries, only maybe have one inquiry on your credit report. You don't want to have a bunch of inquiries or hard pulls on your credit report. Every time you do a credit card, it's going to give you a hard pull. So, but you can get a promotional rate on a card. So say you got balances on other cards. If you pick up a new card and they have a 0% interest rate on that card, you can transfer your balances to that card. So if you have two other cards that have 30% interest, and you can transfer them to a card that has 0% interest, and then make aggressive payments on that, that allows you to pay that off quickly, and then you're not fighting the interest that you're paying on that as well over time. So that's another way that it can help you. Okay, this is another interesting one. Snowball versus avalanche technique, okay? So the snowball technique is a method where you pay your debts off in order of balances you owe from smallest to largest. So this is generally, you know, what I do. So this is what I've always recommended for years. So this would be if you have 3 cards. One has $300 limit, one has a $500 limit, one has a $1,000 limit. So I recommend you pay off the $300 one first because it's the lowest one. It's going to be the easiest one for you to pay off. So you pay that one off. Now you feel a little boost. All right, I'm making some progress. I got one card paid off. Now let's work on the next card. So maybe you pay off the $500 one in 2 $250 chunks. So you pay $250 one month, $250 the next month. Great. Now you got 2 cards paid off. Now you're really making progress. Now we're just working on that $1,000 card. So the same thing. Make your $250 payment over 4 months. Now that one's knocked out. Now you have a 0 balance on all your cards. your score is going to significantly increase from that. The other option is the avalanche technique. Avalanche technique is where you prioritize paying off debt based upon your annual percentage rate from the highest to the lowest. Okay, so this would be, so say, okay, let's go back to the example that we had before. $300, $500, $1,000. Let's say the $500 card has the highest interest rate. The $1,000 card has the second highest interest rate, and the $300 card has the lowest interest rate. So you are now going to pay the $500 card first, $1,000 card second, $300 card third. You can do it either way. Technically, this is going to save you some money. I just like, humans like to see progress. They like immediate gratitude, to be honest with you. So if you can pay things off faster and you can see that you're making progress, I feel that gives you kind of a moral boost inside. So versus if you're paying on the higher card first, you're still making progress and you're still doing what you need to do, but sometimes it doesn't feel as good because it takes longer for you to get that card paid off. So either technique is great. Technically, the avalanche technique would probably save you a little bit of money. So, okay, let's go back to the next slide. All right, avoid adding new accounts, okay? If you add too many new accounts too quickly, this will negatively impact your score. So focus on existing credit cards and grow available limits. So what does grow available limits mean? So what I always recommend, instead of adding a new card, maybe contact a card that you have now. So going back to our example of the $1,000 card. So say you have a $1,000 balance and you have a $1,000 limit on that card. Maybe call them up and say, hey, is there any way that I can increase my maximum limit? So sometimes they're willing to do this, sometimes they're not. Depends on how long you've had the card, but it doesn't hurt to ask. And generally, if you're increasing a limit, they don't do an additional hard pull. So it doesn't hurt to ask. So I would say, hey, are you guys going to do a hard pull or a soft pull on this? Usually it's based upon your payment history. If you've had that card for, say, a year, you've been making payments on time for a year, they feel like it's relatively low risk to give you another $1,000. So again, that same card, if you go from $1,000 to $2,000, now you're only using 50% of that available balance. So now it's going to boost your score because now you have a higher available limit and you're not using as much. So again, you still want to get that down under 30%, but it helps move the ball in the right direction. So these are little things that you can do that affect your score, that it's going to improve your score, and you really didn't pay anything off. All you did was ask them for more money. So if you can get them to bump you to $2,000 or $2,500 on that card, it makes a significant impact on your credit score. So you really want the most available credit possible, and you want to be using as little as possible. So I have a lot available on my credit cards. I have multiple different credit cards, and I'm using a very small amount. So my utilization is only like 4%, which makes my score extremely high. So I can still have a few $1,000s on there from month to month, but because I have a large available maximum, it doesn't affect my score hardly at all. So, and that's what we're trying to get you to in the end. That's what we're trying to work towards. All right, let me just check a few notes here, make sure I've covered everything. Oh, yeah. We do have to cover this. Okay, timing is key. Make sure that you avoid major purchases before applying for a home loan. And then the real crucial one is make sure that you avoid major purchases once you have a pre-approval and then you have a home under contract, okay? One of the biggest mistakes that people make is they say, okay, great, we got this new home under contract. My old furniture is going to look crappy in this new home. I want to have new furniture in this new home. I'm going to go out and take out a loan at, the furniture store and get $6,000 in brand new furniture, because sometimes, especially with COVID and stuff, when you order furniture, it takes, 90 days maybe to show up. You're going to close on your new home in the next 45 days. So you don't want to wait forever. You don't want to wait 3 months for your furniture to show up. So let's get it ordered now. And so that way it'll show up closer to when we close. The problem is now you've opened up a new $6,000 line of credit. This may cost you to not qualify for your home anymore. The bank is going to pull your credit score and verify that you have not added additional lines of credit, such as the furniture, situation. So if you buy a car, if you open up a new credit card, if you buy new furniture, buy new lighting package for the house or something like that, it's going to negatively affect your score, and it's going to affect your available credit, and it's going to affect your debt to income ratio. And it may, and I've seen this happen before, I've had this happen to clients before. They show up at closing or something like that, and they say, "Hey, look, we bought a new car." And I'm like, "Uh-oh." They're like, "What? You probably can't buy this house now." And sure enough, when they pull your credit score before you close the loan, they see that you've added the car, and they're like, "Yeah, you no longer qualify for this. You're over your debt to income ratio. We can't give you the loan." So please, please, please do not buy anything major before you close on your home. And if you really want to buy something and you want new furniture or something like that, that's a discussion we need to have with the lender. So we need to run it by the lender, say, "Hey, I want to buy X amount of furniture. Is it okay? Will this cause my loan not to be able to close?" And they can look at your debt to income ratio, and they can see if you add $3,000 more debt or something like that, will you still qualify for the loan? They should be able to tell you that. If you're close, they'll probably tell you, don't do it. If you don't have that much debt and you're not close to your debt to income maximum, then you'll still be okay, and you might still be able to do it. But if you want to do it, we definitely need to clear it with the lender. Don't just do things unilaterally on your own. Next slide. All right. Keep old accounts open. So we kind of talked about this a little bit before. The length of your credit history matters. Closing a card will remove that history from your credit bureau. You also always want to make sure that you're paying most attention to your oldest cards, because they are the most beneficial to your score. So sometimes credit card companies, if you don't use a card, they will close it. So going back to putting your card in your safe or your security box at the bank or something, you need to make sure that you use your cards once every 24 months. So it looks like my thing. I'm going to turn my camera off for just a second. Maybe not. Okay, it won't turn off. Skip that. Okay, so but basically you need to make sure that you're using it every 24 months. So especially with accounts for, like, say, Kohl's or Macy's or something like that, a credit card that's with a store. They frequently like to make sure that they only have so much available credit, and if you're not using it, they want to close your account and then give that available credit to somebody else, because they can only have so much out there. They want to give it to somebody that's going to spend the money on it, but you don't want to lose that credit history. So if you've had that card for 24 months, they close it, you lose that 24 months in payment history. You don't want that to happen. So make sure that you're rotating your cards through and you're paying attention, and you're using each card once every 24 months. So they often will not notify you if they're going to close your account. They'll just close your account due to inactivity. So I always make sure that I use mine every 12 just to be on the safe side, and just put something cheap on there. So if you need, a new shirt, something like that, a new pair of jeans or something, put it on the card and then go pay it off right away. And then that gets you credit for that, and then that resets your timeline. So now you have another 12 to 24 months before they will look at trying to close your account again. So, all right. I talked about this. Okay, we covered everything on this slide. Okay. Diversifying your credit mix. We talked about this before. This means having a car loan, credit cards, and a home loan. Be careful that you don't take on too much new credit too quickly. You need to ease into this. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So again, you can only have so many hard inquiries, and if they see you trying to take on a bunch of credit at the same time, they get concerned about that. The banks do, and then they start lowering your score. So you want to make sure that your score stays high, and you're taking on loans and credit cards in an incremental basis. So I talk about this with the inquiries. You really want to only have one every year. So you can have 2 inquiries every 2 years, and that's what they consider to be normal, and that's what does not negatively affect your score. So what I recommend is you maybe add a credit card 1 year, and then you don't do anything for another 24 months. And then when you get to the next 24 months, this one's falling off, and so now you can add another one. So it's like a stacking method. So every 24 months, you can afford to add a new card. So don't do it too quickly. This is again, a marathon, not a sprint. You're not trying to add a ton of credit very quickly at the beginning. You're trying to add credit over time. So this is a slow process. Like I said, if we can just get you to the point where you can qualify and get into a house, that's going to help improve your score a lot as well. So over time, we're going to add things. So if you have questions about any of this, you don't really understand something, feel free to reach out to me. My cell phone number as well as my email is going to be available at the end, so you can reach out there and we can go over anything that you might have questions about. Okay, installment loans. What is an installment loan? An installment loan is when you buy a car, when you buy a home, you go get debt for school, debt consolidation, or you make some kind of a large purchase. So an installment loan is a loan that you take out, you run it up to, say, car loan, $30,000, you make payments, and it pays down, pays down, pays down. Once it's paid for, it's done, it's over with, it's gone, okay? What is revolving credit? Okay, now revolving credit is different. Revolving credit is something that you use on an ongoing basis, such as a credit card. You can use it, you can pay it off, you can use it again. Revolving credits are also personal lines of credit. It's also a HELOC. A HELOC is a home equity line of credit. So you can use these once you have a home and you have some equity in it. So let's say you have a $250,000 home. Your home is valued at $250,000. Your loan is only $100,000. You want to remodel your kitchen. You can take out a home equity loan. The loan goes against your house, and then you can use it to remodel your kitchen. Okay, you pay that down. You can then use that again to remodel a bathroom. You can use it again to put in a swimming pool. So it's something that you can use, pay off and use, pay off and use, and it's placed against the home. So they're using your home as collateral. So they're easy to get, they're low risk for the bank, therefore they are low interest. So they are much better than putting a remodel on a credit card. You can get like a home equity line of credit for, say, 8 or 10%, versus your credit card might be 28%. So it's significantly lower cost money for you, and it's good for larger purchases such as remodeling, putting on a new roof, all kinds of stuff like that. So let me go on to the next slide. All right, additional tips for improving your credit. One of the most important things, I think, is reviewing your credit report regularly. Honestly, I check mine at least once a week. Sometimes I check mine twice a week. And it's not because I'm super worried about it. It's just because I want to make sure that everything's going the right direction all the time. So, and if anything funny shows up on there, I want to know about it right away so I can dispute it right away. So that's another thing that we can cover too. I think it's coming up, is disputing inaccuracies. Yeah, it's on this slide. So, all right. When reviewing your credit report, let's make sure that you check for errors. There sometimes is errors on there. Sometimes there's things on there that you didn't buy. Sometimes there's medical bills on there that aren't yours. So sometimes people make mistakes and they place the wrong things on the wrong files. So you want to make sure that if there is an error on there, you dispute it, and you dispute it right away. Okay? So both Credit Karma and Experian have dispute tabs on there. So if you see something on there that's not yours, you can go to that tab and you can dispute it. You type out a little paragraph that explains why this is not yours. You send it to them. They investigate it. And then if they find out that it is inaccurate, they will remove it. They will remove it from your credit report, which in turn can make your score go up. So it's very important, especially at the beginning. That's another thing that you should probably do at the beginning. Set yourself up on auto payments, and then get yourself dispute anything that is not accurate on there. Especially if you have not been checking your credit score at all in a long time. There's likeliness that there's something on there that's inaccurate. So, Again, if you're struggling with any of this, you don't understand any of this. I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you in a short period of time. I'm just trying to make sure that you get all the information that you need. Please feel free to watch this a second time. If you have questions, you can watch this all through again. You're going to pick up things the second time through that you didn't pick up the first time. So, and if you have questions, please feel free to pick up the phone. Again, it's going to have my cell phone on there. Send me a text. Say, hey, I watched your webinar about credit, improving your credit score. I'm trying to improve my credit score. I don't understand this. What about this? What about this? So another good resource would be a lender. So if you're trying to buy a home, I have lenders that you can do soft pull credit checks with. So soft pull means it doesn't negatively affect your score. They're not hard pulls. So they can look at your credit report, see where you're at, and they can make recommendations on what you need to do to improve your score over time. So it's another good place to be at. If you have something that you're concerned about and you want to make a move and you're not sure if it's the right one, you could ask me and you can ask a lender. And they can help advise you as to what to do and the direction you should go in. So. Oh, yeah, and then another thing, you can consider credit counseling. I personally am not a big fan of credit counseling. Credit counseling is going to charge you to basically give you all this information that I'm giving you right now for free. So they're going to hold their cards close to the vest, and they're going to give you little tidbits to help you improve your score. But really, they're not doing anything different than what I'm telling you about here, and they're not doing anything different that you can't do on your own. So only they're going to charge you for it. So I'm showing all my cards to you. I'm trying to help you get to where you need to be without having to spend money. This whole program is designed to help you improve your score without you having to spend any money other than paying down debt that you already have. Next slide. Okay. The timeline for improving your score. So what should I expect? So in general, the timeline for improving your score, it depends on your situation. So I would say about 6 months for moderate change. So if you only need to improve a little bit, you're trying to improve your score maybe 20, 25 points. If you're close, we should be able to do that in about 6 months. If you need 50 to maybe 100 points or something, it's probably going to be more like 12 months. Unless you have the situation that I was telling you about where you have a $1,000 credit card and you have $1,000 on there and you can pay that off right away, your score could jump a significant amount because you now have zero balance on there. It could jump a significant amount, in 30 days. So there is certain situations where we can improve things a lot. Generally, though, it takes a little bit of time. So, but a lot of people, we can get them in the position they need to be in 6 months. So 12 months if you need more significant work, and then I would say 24 months if your score is really low, you got a lot of debt, you got a lot of issues that you need to overcome. I would say 24 months. So, and I know things can seem like a long time. You're like, 24 months. That seems like forever. I can't do that. I'm just going to rent. I want you to think about yourself, getting some equity into something for yourself, and then think about like your kids and your family long term in life. So, you can pass a house down. And think about the advantage that you're going to give the next generation in your family if you can pass them down a house later on, and they can just make payments on the insurance and payments on the taxes, and they don't actually have to make a house payment. Think about how the things that they can do in life. So, and then it also is a vehicle for your retirement. So when you're ready to transition into an assisted living facility or something like that, you can sell that house and then you'll have equity in that house that's going to help you pay for your retirement and the things that you're going to need long term in life. So it's a huge advantage. If you continue renting, it's 100% interest. So people, tend to focus a lot on interest rates. Oh, the interest rates are high. The interest rates are high. Well, I tell you what's really high is renting, because it's 100% interest. So if we can get you qualified for a loan right now at, say, 7% interest, that's a whole lot better than 100% interest. So let's get you building some equity in something. Okay, steps I would take now to prepare to buy a house in the future. So pay down all the current debt that you have, or as much as possible. Once you have the debt paid down, let's start saving for a down payment. Okay, so that's going to be the next thing. You're going to want to have down payment. Even if you don't need all the money for down payment, you're also going to have closing costs. And then a lot of times you're going to want to paint when you move in. You're going to want to put up new drapes when you move in. You're going to have little expenses. So try to pay off as much debt as possible and then try to have as much savings as possible before we start taking on trying to buy a house. So the more you have, the better position you're going to be in. So if you get a good enough score, so if we can get your score improved to a 640 or higher, we can look at getting you down payment assistance. Again, you're still going to have closing costs, but you won't have your down payment assistance. So you'll have down payment assistance, so you won't have to come up with down payment money. So that makes a big difference. So like I said in the scenario with the other guy that I was talking to, he needed $12,000 on his own. If we can get him down payment assistance, then that's $7,500. That really changes his scenario, and he needs to come up with significantly less money to be able to get into that home. So this guy in particular, it's a young guy. He has a good job. He was actually living with his parents. He's engaged. He's getting married, so he has the ability to put away money relatively quickly, and he wants to be able to move into his house with his new wife once they get married. So, we're going to do what we can to try to make him realize that dream so that him and his wife can have a new home to move into and start their new life together. Most down payment assistance do require a 640 credit score. We kind of addressed that already. If you're looking into down payment assistance, please reach out to me, and I will introduce you to one of the lenders that I work with. They specialize in helping people qualify for down payment assistance. So, and even like I said, if you are outside of the central Indiana area, I can still find good lenders for you to work with. I can introduce you to them, and then I can also help you find a great realtor in your market that understands credit and understands credit scores and understands what we're trying to accomplish with trying to get you over the hump so that you can be able to buy something. All right, conclusion. First step, set up free accounts with Credit Karma and Experian. Make sure that you're monitoring your credit. Make sure that you dispute any inaccuracies on your credit report, and it may take up to 90 days for these disputes to remove, or it may take up to 90 days for the credit bureau to remove inaccuracies on your credit report. So these are the main key points to really start making progress on your situation. Get the free accounts, monitor the free accounts, dispute inaccuracies, and set up automatic payments. It's really pretty easy. I mean, honestly, once you understand, you get in this and you start working with it, it's like anything. The more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get at it. So it's, like if you went and played pool, and the first time you went out and played pool, you hadn't played any pool in years, or you hadn't played any pool at all, you're going to be lousy. The second game, you're going to be better. The third game, you're going to be better. Credit is the same way. Once you start learning it and you start getting in there and exercising it, you're going to get better and better at it, and you're going to be able to recognize the things that you can do. And, once you get real used to it, it's actually pretty easy. You just got to make sure that you're not doing things like paying off your credit cards and closing all of your accounts. So there's a lot of things out there that I think are counterintuitive, because you would think, hey, great, I paid off this account and then I closed it. That way I can't run it up again. You think that you're doing yourself a favor. So that's why I kind of created this class to try to teach people what they need to do, because I think a lot of people don't understand what they need to do. And I want to get out there and I want to help you, and I want to see you get out of renting, and I want to see you get into your own home and have your own equity going in. And bonus, I make money by selling you houses. So that's where I make money, is by selling you a house. But I do this because I like to help people. Okay, are you ready to go buy a home? Let's get started. So how do we get started? You reach out and you talk to me, okay? My name is Jason Lawrence. I'm with United Real Estate in Indianapolis. This is my cell phone number. This is my email address. And then this is my website on here. You can go check out all three of these if you like. Again, this is my cell phone number. If you've got questions, feel free to send me a text. I'm always available. I really enjoy helping people. Again, that's why I made this class, is because I really enjoy helping you out, and I want to see you improve and do better in life. So, and I just really have a passion for this, and I really hate seeing people wasting money on rent. So I really want for you to, have something that you can pass down to your children, to your family. Look, a lot of people, in fact, almost nobody knows this. The biggest difference between people that are owners and people that are renters is their net worth, okay? If you own a home, the average person that owns a home has a net worth of $200,000. That's the average person. Do you know what the average renter is? Less than $6,000. And the only difference between these people, they could have the same jobs, the same families, live in the same area. The only difference is the one person owns a home and the other person just rents all the time. So let's get your net worth up there around that $200,000 number. So your home's going to appreciate every year. Here in the central Indiana area, the average is 3% year over year. So you have a $100,000 house that you buy. Next year, that thing's worth 103. The next year, it's worth 106. So it's going to keep going up incrementally. And as you own it for 10, 20, 30 years, it's going to be worth significantly more than what you paid for it. So you have your purchase price, you have your mortgage, you have your pay down, and you have your appreciation. That gap in there is equity. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to grow your equity. And then again, like we talked about, you can do HELOCs. So you decide you want to put in a swimming pool in the backyard one day. Well, you can get a HELOC loan against your house, and that can allow you to put in that swimming pool. And it gives you so many more options in life. So again, you got any questions about anything, please feel free to reach out. I know this thing went a little long, but I wanted to make sure that you had all the information. Please feel free to watch it again and reach out with any questions that you have. So thank you so much. Again, thank you so much for watching my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.